Walter was 71, and he had one number written on the whiteboard in his kitchen: $2,100. That is the most his covered prescription drugs can cost him out of pocket in 2026, a real federal ceiling, and one of the kindest changes to Medicare in a generation. So when a bill for $430 arrived in March, he was sure his plan had erred. It had not. 2 of the 3 medicines Walter depends on were never going to touch that ceiling, and not because he read the number wrong. Because of one small word in the rule that made it. Counts. So what does that ceiling count, and what walks right past it? Today, in plain English, the cap on Medicare drug costs, the 4 kinds of spending it does not touch, and the rule that decides which is which. This video covers the yearly out-of-pocket ceiling on covered Medicare prescription drugs and how the counting works. It does not cover your own plan's drug list, your own prices, or which plan anybody should pick. Check those for your own situation. Start with the ceiling, because it is genuinely new. It came out of a 2022 law called the Inflation Reduction Act. For the first time, Medicare drug coverage has a hard annual limit on what you pay at the counter. For 2025, the first year of the flat dollar cap, the limit was $2,000. For 2026, this year, it is $2,100. And Medicare has already published the 2027 figure, $2,400. It climbs on purpose. The law ties it to the growth in what Medicare drugs cost, then rounds to the nearest $50. Cross that line, and your share of covered drugs for the rest of the year is 0. The old donut hole is gone too. That was the coverage gap that reopened your costs mid-year, and the rulebook now says it flatly. For 2025 and each subsequent year, there is no coverage gap. So the shape is simple. Your deductible first. No plan may charge more than $615 for 2026, rising to $700 for 2027, and plenty charge nothing. Then a middle stage, where the standard design has you paying 25%, then the ceiling, then 0. 2 quick things before we go on. Every figure here is tied to a plan year, and every source is linked in the description so you can read the rule yourself. And this is general information, not medical advice and not financial advice. We are not affiliated with Medicare or CMS, so always confirm your own situation before you act. Now the part almost nobody reads, and it decides everything. The ceiling does not measure every dollar you spend on medicine. It measures one thing, and the rule book names it: incurred costs. You can look it up, 42 CFR 423, 100. Inside it goes what you pay towards your plan's drug deductible, plus your co-pays and co-insurance for drugs your plan covers. And here is the generous part people miss. It also counts money somebody else pays for you. A daughter's card at the counter. Extra help. A state pharmaceutical assistance program. The Indian Health Service. And since 2025, amounts reimbursed through other insurance, a group health plan, and certain other third-party arrangements count too. Money that used to be invisible counts. So what does not count? Start with the one that catches everybody. Your monthly plan premium. The premium is what you pay to have coverage at all, whether you fill a prescription that month or not. It is not a deductible, and it is not a copay, so under that rule, it is not an incurred cost, and it never moves you $1 closer to the ceiling. A full year of premiums, faithfully paid, and your counter still reads what it read in January. Separate bill, separate bucket. Second, medicines Medicare Part B pays for. This is the one that got Walter. Some drugs are not on the pharmacy side of Medicare at all. A drug a nurse infuses in a clinic. An injection in the doctor's office. Certain drugs used with covered home equipment. Those run through Part B, the medical side, and the law defining a Part D drug settles it. If Part A or Part B would pay for it, it is not a Part D drug. So what you pay lands in a different bucket, generally 20% of the Medicare approved amount after the Part B deductible. It never counts towards your drug ceiling. And original Medicare on its own has no yearly out-of-pocket limit at all. A limit only arrives with supplemental coverage or a Medicare Advantage plan. Third, the one that can quietly undo the whole ceiling. What if your drug is not on your plan's list? That list is called a formulary, and the law is blunt. Incurred costs do not include what you spend on a drug that is not on your plan's formulary. It is the most expensive sentence in the subject. You can hand over real money for a drug your plan does not cover, and your ceiling will not move an inch. The plan's own rules sit on that same side of the line while they go unmet. Prior authorization, step therapy, a quantity limit. Until the rule is satisfied, the plan is not covering the drug, so your spending is not counting. But there is a door here, and it is the most useful thing in this video. You, or your prescriber, can ask the plan to cover it anyway. That request has a name, a coverage determination, and specifically an exception, and your prescriber must put in writing why the drugs on the list will not work for you. And if the plan grants it, the rulebook is explicit. At 42 CFR 423, 578, what you pay for that off-list drug is treated as being included for meeting the annual ceiling. An exception is not only about getting the medicine. It restarts the counting. Two more that do not count. What your plan pays does not count toward your ceiling. Only your side does, plus help paid on your behalf. Neither does the discount a drug manufacturer is required to put in. And if you step outside your plan, a discount card, the cash price at the register, Medicare says it plainly. When you use one instead of your Medicare plan, it does not count toward your deductible or your out-of-pocket maximum. Have you ever paid for a medicine and then found out it never counted toward your ceiling? Tell me in the comments, and tell me what kind of drug it was. You are nowhere near the only one, and those stories help the next person ask the right question. Now an option many people have not heard of, because it solves a different problem. Even with a ceiling for the year, 1 month can still flatten you. A big fill in January, hundreds of dollars at once. So the same 2022 law created the Medicare Prescription Payment Plan. You opt in, you stop paying the pharmacy for covered drugs, and your plan bills you monthly instead, each month capped by a formula. Every plan must offer it, and joining costs nothing. But be clear about what it is. In Medicare's own words, it does not save you money or lower your drug costs. It changes the timing, not the total. Your premium still arrives on its own, and by rule, it has no effect on your counting. And if money is genuinely tight, do not stop at the ceiling, because there is help underneath it. Extra Help is the Medicare program that lowers drug costs for people with limited income and resources, a lower premium, a lower deductible, small fixed copays. Here is the part that ties back to today. What Extra Help pays on your behalf still counts toward your ceiling. Medicare says so on its own cost page. You are not punished for accepting help, and the limits are set fresh each year, which is why the move is to ask rather than assume. So here are 3 things to do this week, and none costs $1. First, find your explanation of benefits, the statement your plan sends after the pharmacy bills them. It shows your stage and what counted toward your out-of-pocket total. Second, if a drug you take is off your plan's list or stuck behind prior authorization, call your plan and ask for a coverage determination and ask your prescriber to send the supporting statement. Third, if any of your medicine is given in a clinic, ask which part of Medicare pays for it. If the answer is Part B, that ceiling was never going to help you. And you do not have to work this out alone. Your state health insurance assistance program, your SHIP counselors, will sit down with your real drug list and your real bills for free with nothing to sell you and tell you which of your costs are counting and which are not. Reach them, or Medicare, at 1-800-MEDICARE. Because the ceiling is real, and it is a genuine relief for millions, but it is a ceiling over one room, not over the whole house. Walter was not unlucky, and he was not misled. He was measuring a correct number against the wrong pile of bills. So tell me below, did you know a drug given in a clinic never touches your drug ceiling? If this cleared it up, subscribe. Next, the Medicare dates for 2027 and what changes on January 1st. This is general information, not financial advice, so always check your own situation. I'm glad you're here. I'll see you in the next one.